Okay, now I'm starting to get a little bit of a rant here, but this is something that has been occurring to me because I'm tired of people coming up with these things where they either think that the Bible's contradicting itself, no proof, anything like that. This really irritates me in a way. It's not so much as that I'm irritated, like to the point at which I'm angry, but I feel like some people really are not studying their Bible, and you need to understand too, like, the Bible puts itself on the line with a lot of the prophecies that it puts forth. Um, I wish, I'll probably make a video later on about the different prophecies that have been proven to be true. Um, but I'm going to just keep going with some of the things I've already mentioned. Let's see here. Some people, I've noticed lately, are trying to suggest that Jesus actually was not the Son of God. Now, I would say you could think that. That's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with that. The point of me in general, or the point of me as a Christian, is not necessarily to convert you to Christianity. Most Christians get this idea or theory, not theory, this ideology incorrect. Because oftentimes what happens is you have Christians that will push you and push you to come to the faith. And that's not necessarily what it is that we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to overbound you to the point where, oh, you better turn, you better turn, you better turn, you better turn, you better turn. Now, it's understandable when you have a concern for a person because you honestly feel that they will go to hell. But you're not going to turn them any faster by completely just going nuts on them. I tend to try and move away from that. So, zeal is a good thing. Do not get me wrong. Zeal is a very good thing. But if you overdo it, you will turn people away just because you've scared them. So I would say try to be a little more thoughtful in your zeal. One little verse I want to start talking about here, or no, area, is Mark chapter 3, verse 20 through 27. This is at a point where Jesus is speaking to a multitude, and he, I guess, let me read it real quick. 20. Then the multitude came together again, and so that they could not so much as eat bread. But when his own people heard about this, they went out to lay hold of him. For they said, he is out of his mind. And the scribes who came down from Jerusalem said, he has Beelzebub, and by the ruler of the demons he casts out demons. So he called them to himself and said to them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? Notice, the scribes were saying this. They did not address this to Jesus. So Jesus already knew that this was going on within their heart. This was not addressed to him. He sensed it through his mind. So he called them to himself and said to them in parables, how can Satan now cast out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house is divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he cannot stand, but has an end. No one can enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods unless he first binds the strong man, and then he will plunder his house. So basically, you would have to utterly defeat the so-called strong man in order to be able to plunder his house. This is actually pertaining to a earlier thing where Jesus had actually cast out a demon from a man. And what happens is the scribes were trying to suggest that he is not the Son of God. He's casting out demons because they'll listen to him, and he's actually evil. And he goes and says to them, How can I be evil if I've just turned against somebody that's evil? He basically, in the name of God, removed this demon from this man, and now saying, how can Satan cast out Satan? So I look at this, and this makes perfect sense to me. So note, that would kind of refer to the idea of Jesus not necessarily being a good man. This is a very rare case that I see. I see some people try to suggest that Jesus is really Satan, and I almost never hear this, but this is trying to get to the point where Jesus is a good guy, and where I think he's the Son of God, but me saying he's a good guy. I wanted to also talk about the fact that, let's see here. Different accounts. I want to explain the layout of the beginning of the New Testament concerning Jesus' life. Most people seem to think that you can contradict yourself if you go through the linearly through the Old New Testament and find contradictions in each book of the Bible. Now, you might. It might say different words, and it might say little different things, or things might be said differently. But the fact is, the whole idea is there. Because you need to understand, these first books in the New Testament, all these people, Mark, Luke, John, Matthew, they're all there because they saw Jesus. They all wrote, and they will give different accounts, because there is never a point in time in the history of this world where everybody can give you an accurate or supposedly the same exact words of a event that happened. There will never happen. Never. Car accidents. Cops see it all the time. My major is being a criminal investigator. I see it all the time. And Bible? Same thing. But if you get the general idea of what's being said, and you see one little part where something's wrong or something completely different's going on, you can see that somebody's lying. But none of these guys do that. They all tell you the same account. So what does that tell you? They're probably not all lying, or they're conspiring together, which could be true too. But why? Why would they conspire together, in all honesty? Let's see here. Let me start this off real quick with something where I could suggest to you that these different, reading it linear, yes, you will see like different points where things are said differently. But here, I want to find one real quick. Maybe one that I've already done here real quick. A house divided cannot stand. This one here. I look at this one here. This one actually, this parable, this particular part of the Bible is in Matthew. This different depiction of what happened with that house divided amongst itself cannot stand parable happen is actually a little longer than what was in Mark. In Mark basically what happens here is that Mark chapter 12 verse 22 through 30, no, that's Matthew. Matthew chapter 12 verse 22 through 30, Mark chapter 3 verse 22 through 27, and Luke chapter 11 14 through 23 all correspond with this story. Now, I want somebody to read, like if you're looking at this video right now, please pick up a Bible, look at these three different parts of the Bible that I've mentioned, and tell me as to whether or not they are the same story in different words and may have some kind of contradictions. And tell me what you honestly believe is going on here, and whether or not you feel that you're being misled by any one of these writers. House divided amongst itself cannot stand. Matthew 12 verse 22 through 30, Mark chapter 3 22 through 27, and Luke chapter 11 14 through 23. Tell me if that's the same story. Please get back to me.